For 2013 Masters champion Adam Scott, he earned $210,000 for finishing 29th at the Sentry Tournament of Champions. And with that check, he joined a short list of names who have made more than $60 million in prize money on the PGA Tour. And here is that pretty elite company. You see Adam Scott there at number 70. Tiger Woods, of course, streaking out ahead with $120.8 million in career earnings, not including bonuses. Yesterday, Adam Scott was asked if he ever thought that $60 million benchmark was within the realm of possibility.
It certainly wasn't. I mean, we were running on money lists when I first came out, and everything was based around that. I don't really think I had a career money goal at all. I think it was more about I'd win majors goal, and honestly, I don't know if my goals were any more complicated than that. And I've told this a million times, but after a few years on tour, it felt like it was probably win majors and get to world number one, whether it was my goals as a kid or my dreams as a kid. And after a few years on tour, like maybe many others, if we're all being honest, it felt like they were going to be unattainable because Tiger was dominant at number one and he was winning about 2 majors a year, and if I'm honest, my golf in the majors wasn't even close to looking like threatening. So that was an interesting first 10 years of my career, I think, because I'm not sure that for whatever reason I didn't give up, but it seemed a little bit unattainable. And then
is it more attainable now?
I think so, yes. I think my motivation now is as strong as ever. I think there are maybe some more hurdles in my way than in the middle of the career. Like, I think there's more good young players now than when I was 30, for example. And that's not a knock on anyone that was out there. When I just think guys are getting better quicker. Competition's a bit deeper, and but I'm fit and healthy, and I feel like for the first time in a few years, things are on my terms. This year I'm playing the schedule I want to play. I feel like I don't have to chase anything, and I feel like I can prioritize everything I need to win big events and put myself in a position where I want to be kind of fulfilling those dreams as a kid.
Big money, but not a lot of trophies of late. The former world number one and Masters champion. See that 2020 Genesis Invitational, his last win, the other runner-up finish, 7 top 10s, 5 missed cuts. Paige McKenzie, he's eloquent, he's elegant, but is he relevant at the age of 42?
I think so. I tend to agree with him in kind of the trajectory of his career. Yes, he's had obviously a lot of bright spots throughout the entirety of his career, but when you look at players, I think once they reach the age of 40, and he's at that age, 42 now, you start to wonder, okay, how long can they keep up distance-wise and also with the putter? Because both those tend to falter as players age, and the nerves get a little shaky around the short putts, and your body starts to break down. Maybe not quite as much speed as you had in your 20s. Well, when I look at Adam Scott and I look at his driving, over the course of his career, one of the best drivers on tour, well, he's managed to continue to gain distance, as the tour players have. And last year was his highest or most distance off of the tee of any year of his career. He was 312 yards, which ranked 15th on the PGA Tour, so certainly relevant off of the tee. And then Damon, he's had a lot of putting struggles throughout his career. Of the last 19 seasons, 11 of those, he was ranked outside the top 100 on the PGA Tour, but the last 4 years have been a different story. He's had a lot of consistency in that area. So when I look at him and can he be relevant, is he relevant? Certainly in those two areas, he has maintained and continued to excel.
Great point you make. And Paige, early in 2023, paying a lot of attention to the driver. It was John Rahm last week, and it's Adam Scott right now. And you're right, Paige, the perception of Adam Scott in recent years has been that he's not putting well, but the numbers do tell a different story. The last 4 years, 31st, 49th, 18th, tied for 41st. Those are very serviceable numbers. It's around the greens where he's gotten into some problems. 10th, 9th, 112th in 2021, 136th in 2022. So, sometimes, everybody's not going to be Raymond Floyd, aging gracefully with the short game, or Kenny Perry, Jack Nicklaus, Tom Watson, players, Vijay Singh, very, very robust resumes in their 40s. What do you see from Adam Scott at this point, Eamon?
He gave the impression in those comments there of a guy who thinks he's got unfinished business in terms of his career resume. And that may explain why Adam Scott has passed on moving to Live Golf, because he ticks a lot of those boxes. A major champion who you could argue perhaps his best days are behind him, and that there's been some erosion in results. But he's pointed out he wants to play the schedule that he chooses, which he's obviously going to do on the PGA Tour, and that's clearly going to be focused on major championships, because he had a sublime 4-year run between 2011, when he almost won the Open Championship, then 2012 at Lytham, up until 2015. He won one major championship at the Masters and had 10 other top 10s. In the 7 years of play since then, he's had 4 top 10s in all of those majors and none since 2019 at all. So he strikes me as a guy who's trying to refocus on what will define his legacy from this point forward. He says he's fit, he's hungry. He also acknowledges the hurdles in his way. Those hurdles are named, Justin Thomas and Rory McIlroy and Jon Rahm and Scottie Scheffler. I think that's going to be the question. Can a player who's going to turn 43 this summer compete with these players who are Brahma Bulls, who are just kind of tasting and reaching the height of their power, where the bottom line is that Adam Scott very well may have already reached the height of his power? He kind of reminds me of, in a way, an Andy Roddick character in tennis, who looked, he won early. He was this great striking figure coming onto the world stage, and then suddenly Federer, Nadal and Djokovic all came behind him, and suddenly that was the deluge that washed away Andy Roddick's career. And he mentioned it there in those comments himself, that he came into this game wanting world #1 and major championships, and then realised, well, Tiger wasn't going to cede the #1 spot anytime soon, and that there were basically only 2 majors a year left for anyone else to win at the rate Tiger was going in his peak years. And that's a hard thing, I think, to reassess at a certain point. When you get to 40, is the drive still there when your peak years are behind and you happen to be playing in the era of the GOAT? There are hurdles out there now. They're not Tiger Woods-sized hurdles, but he's a little older, a little slower. Got a family. 3 kids at 42 years old. His very nice life in the Bahamas. So it makes you wonder if the drive is there. I would suggest the drive is there. Whether the ability to actually reorganize his life in complete support of that drive, that's probably a little more difficult at 42 with 3 kids. He's put a goal of 20 PGA Tour wins for his career. He's trying to get win number 15 this week.